Major changes are here for the Buccaneers. Finally, after some answers yesterday, we had the head coaching position. Now it has come time to clean house regarding all of the assistant coaches. The Buccaneers are finally making changes. We have a lot of confirmations and some retirees to also mention in the works. So there's just a lot to talk about. I'm Sebastian with the Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, everybody. Big day for the Buccaneers because, yesterday, obviously, the news was not very exciting for a lot of Bucs fans. Todd Bowles coming back next year for the 2026 season. That did not come with any caveats. As we predicted, there were some major changes that were going to happen regarding the supporting staff under Todd Bowles, and we have a lot to get into. But make sure, to tune in, to subscribe, all that good stuff. And let's get our, I want to introduce our sponsor.
Before we get into the rest of today's show, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. If you download Kalshi using the link in the description and use code DIGESTNFL, you're going to get $20 when you trade your first 100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States, and on their platform, you can trade yes or no on real-life events such as sports, elections, news, even weather. You can find everything on Kalshi. Now, whether you're in California, Texas, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is now live in all 50 states. For sports fans, we can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out anytime. As we look forward in the NFL calendar, we can look toward the NFL draft and see that Fernando Mendoza's odds are skyrocketing right now on Kalshi to be the number one overall pick. You can also trade on a maybe more lesser-known option, Ruben Bain Jr. It's genuinely the smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. Download Kalshi with the link in the description, and don't forget to use this code DIGESTNFL to get your $20 bonus.
All right, and thank you for that. So without further ado, let's get into the biggest news first and foremost. It is confirmed, Ian Rappaport says here, a significant change for the Bucs coach Todd Bowles. He is firing offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard, and there are other staff changes, but Baker Mayfield will have, once again, another play caller entering the 2026 season. Poor guy, but at the same time, we all knew that this was very much necessary. The next biggest firing, and then we all knew this had to happen, is firing a special teams coordinator, Thomas McGaughey. So that's also confirmed. Bucs senior offensive consultant Tom Moore unfortunately has decided to retire after 62 years of coaching and more than 46 seasons in the NFL. He's currently 87 years old, a remarkable career for just an absolute legend, guy who's coached so many legends. It's hard to even count them, but he was here for Brady. He's coached Peyton Manning, all those guys. So really, really exciting stuff, and wish him obviously the best. And then another big piece of information here that obviously you saw in the thumbnail of the video, Dolphins have fired their head coach, Mike McDaniel. And so that's a big one, especially coming right off of the news that the Bucs have fired Josh Grizzard. So they are now looking for an offensive coordinator, which is really, really big. Greg Allman, when asked about would he come to Tampa as an offensive coordinator, he said, with 8 openings, I think McDaniel gets interviews for head coaching jobs and would be the most coveted options for an offensive coordinator spot at the very least. Also, to round out some of the other firings that's happened, Thad Lewis, our quarterbacks coach, who was here also during the Brady time, he is gone as well. So with him and Josh Grizzard both gone, Baker Mayfield will have a new quarterbacks coach and a new offensive coordinator. And then not to mention some defensive changes as well. Kevin Ross has been fired along with defensive line coach Charlie Strong. And then Nick Rapone, our safeties coach, has retired. So there's a lot going on here. Also, Greg Allman has alluded that there's going to be even more changes as things currently stand. So, Grizzard, let's first get this one out of the way. We knew this had to happen. I mean, at first, in the first half of the season, we all thought, oh, this guy might be like the next guy that we. I remember we were all talking that, like, man, we keep like acing these offensive coordinator hires because we were down so many dudes and we were still winning games, mostly due to the heroics of Baker Mayfield. But at the same time, offensive line was going in and out, all these different changes, basically a new lineup every game, and we were still winning. We all thought man, like this Grizzard guy really must know how to like work, the depth and all that stuff. Turns out that really wasn't the case. People were just figuring out his scheme and seeing what he can do on tape, which really there was not much there because in the second half of the season after the bye, people had completely figured us out. And he, especially in short yard situations, Grizzard was completely clueless, had no idea how to get a first down in those situations. And when we got healthier, we got worse. And that is the biggest indictment on a coaching staff. So you can blame, Todd Bowles all you want, but offensively, we all know this was a Grizzard problem and that we will be hopefully trying to get our next guy going forward because, credit to him in the first half of the season. He did some good stuff there. I think that will get him a new job in the NFL somewhere, just not in Tampa Bay because obviously the frustrations with the health that we ended up gaining in the last part of the season didn't solve anything and we got even worse. And that's the reason in the end that he had to go. So this leads to the next part of the puzzle. Mike McDaniel, he is now a free agent, so to say, as a head coach. My guess is he will be interviewing for several head coaching vacancies. It would be unlikely, in my opinion, that he would end up as an offensive coordinator just because he's had several years as a head coach. There's a lot of teams that would want his skill set as a play caller and would take the risk of maybe not being the best head coach in the world just to have a really good play caller on their staff. The Titans, for example, would definitely love that for their now going to be their second-year quarterback and many other teams. There's several. I think there's 8 now current vacancies. There's no head coaches that have been officially hired yet. John Harbaugh is also on the market. There's a lot of things. And then who's to say that, there won't be a firing or whatever after the wild card round? That's still on the table. So we're still not done with the coaching carousel just yet. It's going to get even crazier. But this is a name that a lot of Bucs fans are really, really excited about that's currently available. I just want to give not the most popular opinion here. I'm not sure that Mike McDaniel would be the best fit in Tampa. Listen, I do think he could do wonders with this offense. I don't want to understate how awesome that would be to have him as our offensive coordinator if we made that somehow work. Listen, we tried to make Liam Cohen the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. It didn't work out because he wanted to be head coach, and now he's doing wonders in Jacksonville. I feel like there's a similar vibe for Mike McDaniel. I think he wants to be a head coach wherever he goes. And you could say, okay, well, the Glazers and Jason Licht could make the promise to Mike McDaniel that he would be the successor to Todd Bowles after being spending a year as a coordinator in 2026. Maybe that would work if you throw enough money at him. But even if that were the case, I don't feel comfortable with Mike McDaniel being the future head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just because what he's shown in Miami. He's had a plethora of weapons for Tua and the Dolphins offense and still really showed that he was not a big-time head coach. Like the big-time games, the Dolphins almost always fell short. And the one playoff game that they played, it was obviously in the cold. McDaniel would cause some drama about I wish it was colder type of t-shirts that he was wearing during practice. And then they would completely poop the bed when the game appeared. And so going to another Florida team where the weather's pretty hot, I don't want to be dealing with more Tampa accusations that they can only win in hot weather. That was a thing for Tampa Bay for a long time. So there are some question marks regarding just similar to Todd Bowles. It feels like there's a ceiling on Mike McDaniel as a head coach. I'd rather go take a risk with someone else than put a cap on what our guys are capable of. It would look fun. Don't get me wrong. He could do a lot of really fun things with our offense. But I'm not convinced that McDaniel would come to Tampa unless he knew that the head coaching job would become available to him. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but that's just how I feel regarding this situation. I might rather go a different direction. And he might not even be available. He might just prefer to go be a head coach immediately for next year, like I mentioned before. So all very much... we'll see. It's very fluid. This just happened this morning, so we'll see what the reports end up being as we go forward in this week. And then again, Thomas McGaughey, we had to make a change for our special teams. It was just ridiculous what we were dealing with this year. The kick returns, the punt returns, the blocked kicks, the blocked punts. It was sad. It was really, really sad, and it cost the Bucs probably several games at least. So. it was surprising that the Josh Grizzard firing happened first and not this one. We don't even know why. A change had to have happened in the middle of the season because they were working around this guy, not with this guy. So in the end, this had to happen. Glad that it's finally over. His reign of terror is over in Tampa, and that we can move on. And so, listen, you wish the guy the best, but holy smokes, that was rough this year watching just that special teams unit. And then, the most respect to Tom Moore. He had a lot of great phrases. He has this great NFL Films video you guys should go watch on the internet. It's like 10 minutes long, just talking about his career and the guys that he has worked with, like Peyton and Tom and all these guys, and Baker, obviously. And it's just really fun. It's amazing that he had 62 years in the NFL, added so much to the culture in Tampa, and we're going to miss him. And it just does feel like a bit of a change of the guard. Obviously, Todd is still around, so there's going to be that consistency there. But I do also want to mention, with Todd sticking around, I do think that there is a silver lining that maybe that means Lavonte might want to come back. If he's still unsure about retiring, we're pretty sure he's going to retire. I don't get me wrong. I'm still saying 95% sure Lavonte, that was his last game. But with Todd coming back, we know that they have a good relationship. Maybe there's a small percentage chance that Lavonte comes back for a 15th season and he can coach up a young linebacker that we probably end up drafting. So that's all on the table. And then Mike obviously really likes Todd as well. So we're all expecting Mike to come back, but it doesn't hurt to have his a head coach that he's been familiar with to come back as well. So those are silver linings. Is that the veterans really do like Todd? I believe that. So there is that, and maybe that's what the Glazers saw. Maybe that's what Jason saw. I know people are worried that there's too much loyalty to Todd Bowles. It is what it is, guys. You guys are going to have to get over it. You can say you're going to cancel your season tickets, all that stuff. But in the end, I know after 7 months of no football, you're going to watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't mean to be blunt there, but it's true. You're not going to just skip a whole season because you don't like the head coach, especially when they're making all of these supporting staff changes. They know something had to change, and they are currently doing it, including defensive staff that Todd has worked with for a long time. And that might mean that maybe we're going to bring in another defensive coordinator to work with him and kind of reestablish what this defensive identity is going to be and reconstruct that. We're obviously making the offensive changes that we need to. So this team is going to look different just coaching-wise. People can say that they don't like his time management. I think it got better over this last year. They can say he's too conservative. I think that's fair, but there's a lot of conservative coaches out there. John Harbaugh is not the most aggressive coach in the world either. So there's, if you're going to bring him in but then criticize Todd about being conservative, I think that's a bit hypocritical. So I think that we have to kind of meet them halfway on this. Just regarding all of these different coaching
Before
changes.
we get into the rest of today's show, this video...
So anyway, sorry about that. We're in the meat of the coaching carousel. A lot of rumors are going to be going around, phone calls, who wants what. We will see. The Buccaneers actually still have not put out an official statement about oh, this is the plan. We don't... But we're seeing what's happening now just regarding the firings and everything. So my guess is that we'll start to, do the interviews pretty quickly for the offensive coordinator. I'm going to have my own. I do have my own ideas, and there's a lot of names being floated out there regarding what could the plan be just for the future of the Buccaneers, not just offensively, but also for the head coaching position. All that good stuff I do want to talk about. But first things first, let me know what you guys think about all of these firings, retirees, all these things. Do you think that this is enough, or are you still not satisfied? Do you think that it's just Todd Bowles is the problem and he needs to go as well? I think there's a lot of people who still feel that way. I'm going to be more optimistic. This is a Bucs channel. I'm not just going to say, give up on the Buccaneers, because what would be the point? I'm just going to... I believe in Bucs. I've been a Todd Bowles defender for a while. I did not like how this season ended, but at least they're making some changes. Look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They're just saying, let's run it back again after just the disaster after disaster of seasons. So at least we're not doing that. The Glazers are smart enough to know that we have to make some changes, and they are. So let's see how things progress. Maybe defensively we will get another coordinator, which I think would excite a lot of people. We'll see what that means and how that plays out. Let me know what you guys think down below. And until the next video, guys, I'll see you then.